Bonjour, it's JennyB from FindingTasty.com. Today we're going to go to Provence, France and cook a beef daube. I'll start with the ingredients. I've got 1 large carrot cut up, a bunch of fresh herbs, a big handful of fresh parsley, a fresh bay leaf, if you can get fresh it's better, and about a dozen sticks of fresh thyme. And then I have onion. I have 1 small onion cut up and 2 small leeks. This is only because this is what I had on hand. If you've got 1 large onion or 4 leeks, that's great too. I'm going to use a whole bottle of white wine. I'm using a white Bordeaux for this. And an entire head of garlic. A big squirt of tomato paste, 1 tin of chopped tomatoes, 2 cups of beef stock, a good bunch of zest from 1 orange, some olive oil, and about 5 pounds of stewing beef. Now I'll show you how to make the bouquet garni. This will season the stew. I've taken butcher's twine, a big long length of it, and you can get this probably in grocery stores, certainly in gourmet stores. I got mine at the butcher. Tying it up very tightly and securely. Look at that, I should have been a surgeon. Double knot. And that's it. Then we'll hang that in the stew, and because it's long I'll be able to pull it out at the end. Okay, now for the orange zest. This is really important to the daube. I'm using my zester, which has the typical little zesty bits at the end, but 1 big bit in the middle. This I think is usually meant to make twists for cocktail drinks. I'm going to go around the orange about 2 times, and I'll end up with a length of a foot long, maybe 18 inches of this zest. It has none of the pith, none of the white part, which is the bitter part of the orange, and I'll stick that in to season the stew. With the heel of a large knife, bash the head of garlic to break apart the cloves. It can be explosive. Yipes! For this dish, I'm going to chop the garlic rather than putting it through a press. It gets a slightly stronger flavor that can stand up to the stew. I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil into a hot pan. Now this is set over medium-high heat, and the pan is very hot. You can tell by the way the oil quivers in the pan. Doing this will make sure that when I brown the meat off, it actually does brown, that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan, that when it hits the hot pan, it will seize up, the meat will seize up and brown, and it won't steam. Also, be careful not to overcrowd the pan, that will also make it steam. Okay, the meat's been cooking nicely, and you can see that it really doesn't stick much to the bottom of the pan. It's just browning. Look, I'm shaking the pan, which gets it to work for me to move the pieces around. And now I'll take the remaining bits of meat out of the pan, and I'm going to put the onion in, and celery. I forgot there was celery in there. Basic mirepoix. It's a pretty dry pan. And I'll just saute the onion and the celery just for a little bit. Okay, this is sauteed for just a minute or 2. I'm going to pour in the entire bottle of wine. Not even a sip for me. And this is a white Bordeaux, but any dry white wine would do. As soon as I've poured in the wine, I'll add in the 2 cups of beef stock, and I want to bring that to a strong simmer. Oops, forgot the garlic. The whole head. Doesn't matter, add it in. It's got 3 hours to cook with the rest of the ingredients. Okay, that's all been simmering for a little bit. I'm going to add in the carrot now, and the tin of tomato, and just get that warmed. and then I'm going to assemble the whole stew. Here I am with my big earthenware pot. First I'm going to put in the beef that's been browned but certainly not cooked. You can see all the juice that's collected there, and that's the best part of the stew. I want to get that into the pan. Then goes in the vegetables, the stock and the wine, still hot. The bouquet garni with the string hanging out so I can pull it out later. Nestle it way down deep in there. Okay, there's the orange zest that really gives a nice depth but is not too obvious. A squirt and a half of tomato paste. It's going to cook for 2 hours, and then I'm going to take a cup of the broth out, let it cool, and mix that with a 1/4 cup of flour, put it back in, let it continue to cook for an hour, and that's going to thicken up the stew, and it will be absolutely lovely. Et voila! Beef Daube. Come visit me at findingtasty.com for more recipes.